Let's talk about food, because we always want to eat the things, right? I mean, a lot of people want to supplement, and that's great. But I think, too, aim for healthy, substantial sources of quercetin as well. And so here's a list of some of the higher quercetin-containing foods. As you can see here, capers, red onions, kale, apples with the skin. That's where the quercetin is in that skin. And a lot of people buy the apple because they coat them with soy and other garbage, especially this new Edapeel nonsense that they're putting all over apples. So people are peeling the skin off, and when you do that, you're losing a lot of that quercetin potential. Green tea, if you like it, have some. Tremendous amount of quercetin. Blueberries, they're in season right now. My garden's blooming, love it. And then broccoli. Now notice that if you cook these foods, you can reduce quercetin content. So boiling or microwaving will reduce quercetin, and fermenting, so if you're fermenting any of these things, can actually increase quercetin, and chopping the food may enhance its bioavailability or improve your body's ability to absorb it. But I would argue that chopping is no different really than chewing. If you chew your food really well, you're going to get better absorption. So here's another list of some high. This is coming from the journal Pharmaceuticals, where they're looking at other foods. So again, capers on the list, rocket, dill, coriander, fennel. So if you like herbs and spices, learn how to use and cook with these things. Juniper berries, as well as elderberries, corn poppy, bee pollen, and okra. All other great options. And these doses, by the way, are listed in milligrams per kilogram on both of these images. So high levels of quercetin found in all these foods. Now, I'd encourage you to eat organically. Why? If we're talking about quercetin in organic food, the thought is that non-organic food has lower quantities of quercetin, and not every food has been studied in that regard, but tomatoes have specifically, right? And so if you look at this is a 10-year comparison of organic versus conventional crops, and the content of flavonoids, and in this case it's in tomatoes. And so here's the thing: comparison of analysis of archive samples from conventional and organic production systems demonstrated statistically higher levels of quercetin and camphorol, which is a byproduct of quercetin, in organic tomatoes. So they had higher levels of these. And you see here 10-year mean levels of quercetin and camphorol in organic tomatoes were 79 and 97% higher than conventional tomatoes. Now, what they also found is that the longer the land was organic, meaning the longer they went without having pesticides on the land, the higher the level of quercetin went, right? So it wasn't just, because organic farming, there's some oddball rules around it, but the longer the land sits and is basically has good regenerative agriculture practices, the stronger the amount of flavonoids show up in the produce. So the longer you're farming organically, the better, is what you want to take away from that. So if you're trying to get quercetin from your food, know that organic is probably going to lend you toward higher levels of quercetin if quercetin is what you're after. Okay, let's talk about supplementation. Supplementation has been shown to be safe in humans. Been a number of research studies looking at this. So doses ranging from 500 milligrams a day up to 5,000 milligrams a day with little to no side effects. That being said, there's a caveat. Anyone can have a side effect. And so, pay attention. Is it smart to start at 5,000 if you've never done it before? Maybe start at a lower dose and work your way up so that you can pay attention. I mean, that just would be kind of intelligent thinking around, how to go about it. But because no long-term research has been done on humans at super high doses. We don't have like 5-year studies going out. We've got, shorter duration studies using up to 5,000, showing them to be side effect free for the most part, and symptom prone or symptomatic free, and no parameters of, oh my gosh, don't do that, it's super dangerous. So that being said, talk to your doctor about using quercetin. If you're taking medicines or blood pressure for blood sugar, and there's some evidence on warfarin showing that when you add quercetin, if you're on warfarin, that it makes warfarin work better, so your dose of warfarin might need to be looked at and reduced. So just be aware of that. Same thing here. If you're on a blood pressure medicine, you start taking higher doses of quercetin. I showed you earlier that it can drop your blood pressure almost 10 points. So what happens when your blood pressure gets too low? You get tired, you get lethargic. You don't want that either. So if you're on medicine and you're going to do it, so this is what I mean by talk to your doctor, like monitor your blood pressure so as it doesn't go too low, so it doesn't create side effects. Because what a lot of people do is they'll get on quercetin or other nutraceuticals, they'll start feeling bad as a result, they'll start feeling more tired, and they'll think, oh, this healthy natural thing is making me tired, therefore I better stop doing it. But what in reality is happening is it's the combination of that healthy natural thing plus your medicine that's too much, right? And so ideally, you want to work with your doctor to reduce the medication and maybe continue using that natural healthy thing to receive that benefit. But just be aware, blood sugar, blood pressure, blood thinner, work with your doc in that regard to monitor your medicine and monitor your levels so that you don't overdo it. Here's safety of quercetin for clinical application. This was a review. You see here in 1999, IARC concluded that IARC is it's the International Agency for Research on Cancer. They concluded that quercetin is not classified carcinogenic to humans in the US and Europe. Supplements of quercetin, commercially available and beneficial effects of quercetin supplements were reported in clinical trials. Overall, quercetin is genotoxic to Salmonella, which is bacteria, but it is safe upon human application. So safe. Then we have, there's a chapter out of a good book on it, commenting on safety. In studies on both animals and humans, quercetin supplementation is regarded as medically safe and has not found to cause any adverse symptoms or harmful physiological effects. So quercetin's been around a while. It's rich in a lot of different foods as well. I want to talk about, if you are supplementing with quercetin, I want to talk about some interactions with other nutrients. So one of the things that we know, so here's quercetin, the chemical formula of quercetin here. And quercetin, when your body uses it up, that process is called oxidation, meaning that quercetin basically donates its electron. It oxidizes to quelch or to quench free radicals that are contributing to damage. And so when quercetin is in its oxidized form, it can be repurposed. And the way that we repurpose quercetin is through vitamin C, ascorbate. And the way we can recycle quercetin, one of the ways we can recycle it is through the use of ascorbate, vitamin C. And so vitamin C regenerates quercetin. And so it allows it to be reused again. So this is what I was telling you earlier. When you combine vitamin C with quercetin, you have a synergistic effect because they can regenerate each other. One of the other nutrients that can help to regenerate quercetin is NADH, which is just a fancy way of saying vitamin B3 or niacin. So it donates an electron or hydrogen to the oxidized form of quercetin to reduce it. So vitamin B3 and vitamin C can both help to regenerate quercetin and allow the body to continue to reuse it. Another mechanism is that we can take the end breakdown product of quercetin, and through the action of glutathione, your body can basically break it down so that it can be excreted from the body. And so, we have mechanisms here at play. So, if you're thinking about what can I do to synergize with quercetin, think vitamin C, think vitamin B3, and think glutathione. These work in tandem with each other. And so might not be a bad idea, especially if you're doing higher amounts. So if you're deciding, hey, I'm going to start taking 2+ grams of quercetin, what could I do to prevent the byproduct of quercetin's metabolites, that can turn into toxic compounds? What can I do to prevent that? I can take glutathione, or I can eat more sulfur-containing vegetables and foods that would help my body produce glutathione. I can eat more vitamin C, or I can supplement more vitamin C, or I can make sure that my vitamin B3 is not low. Again, these all work together with each other to reduce or regenerate quercetin and allow continued benefit. So those are some nutrient interactions with quercetin. So now you should have a really nice understanding of quercetin, not only its benefits, but its benefits in humans, right? And that's important delineation to make, because a lot of supplements and a lot of nutrients don't come, unfortunately, with human clinical trials where we can make statements like it'll lower your blood pressure, or it'll lower your pain levels, or it'll improve your rheumatoid arthritis, or guys, it'll improve your prostatitis pain, or ladies, it can improve your PCOS outcomes. So very, very powerful nutrient. So thanks for tuning into this crash course today. If you'd like more information on nutrition, diet, and lifestyle, and how to overcome chronic inflammation using those as tools, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and come visit me as well at Gluten Free Society. If you sign up there, you won't get censored, first of all, and number two, we'll send you a bunch of free information that you can use, that's actionable items that you can use in your everyday walk of your life to help you on your path to wellness. We'll be back again on Thursday for a live Q&A, so if you've got questions you'd like to ask me this week about quercetin, make sure you show up at 12:30 Central Standard Time this Thursday. We'll see you in the next show. Hope you have a fantastic day.